Hi everybody, welcome to While You're Loading, and today we are going to talk about the PS4 Pro. Over here you got Zach, Charles, and next to me you got Brandon.
And you are?
Jenna. Thanks for the introduction! Forgot who I was, to be honest with you.
Okay, so how much have you guys gotten a chance to read about this today?
I watched the
Two
event.
paragraphs? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Game Informer 2 paragraphs.
Yeah,
That was about it?
That's pretty much all there is to know.
Okay.
So,
for those who don't know.
yeah, for those that don't know, it's been like 6 hours now. Sony has unveiled their new Pro system, which has a graphical boost, CPU boost, which we all knew this was coming because it's been heavily rumored for about a year now. And we already knew about the Scorpio, so we knew there was going to have to be some type of way that Sony was going to combat the system that is going to be coming out next year. And so they released it, and I'm kind of disappointed based on the mixed messaging, based on the just overall lackluster presentation that they gave of the system, where they showed stuff that didn't really look next gen per se, compared to what we've been in since 2013. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Kind of just like other messaging.
They could have done a lot better.
Yeah.
So I remember I watched the event live, and they start off with the PS4 Slim. Ooh, cool, nice.
Yeah, which we already saw.
Which we already saw.
Completely,
I mean, I get that you bring it in.
Yeah.
To kind of segue in. I think it was a bit of a weak opening, showing something that we already know exists. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to the PS4 Pro, as they eventually unveiled it, and then it does not much different.
Yeah.
I think is a bit off-putting.
I mean, I think it was, I don't want to say obvious, but pretty much everybody knew it was coming, that it was, whatever they were doing was going to play video games in 4K, which is cool. Mm-hmm. You know, that's a great step up. I like the faster processor speeds, and also the upscaling for non-4K TVs as well. It's going to have poppier colors. It's going to have crisper textures, all that kind of stuff. I think that's really, really cool. Mm-hmm. There's something really weird, though. I don't know if it's an oversight. I don't know if it's an issue with the hardware itself, but it's not going to be able to play 4K Blu-ray discs.
Yeah, which I'm not super bummed about that aspect of it, because everything's shifting to digital lately anyway. So realistically, I've purchased less physical media in the past few years since 2013, when the new generation started, than ever. So that's not a huge deal for me. I do like the fact that they beefed up the hard drive so that way I can download more stuff online. Mm-hmm. I understand that there's probably a huge audience that still wants to be able to buy physical media, but
That's me.
Yeah.
Same way.
Honestly, I don't know if it's necessarily an oversight thing as much as it is a cost thing.
Yeah.
Because to add a 4K Blu-ray drive, those aren't cheap still.
And they've been trying to slowly get away from that particular model anyway, because what it'll do is it'll allow them to basically pay less money to charge the same amount.
Yeah. So
the whole theory has been since 2013, when the new generation started, that us going to digital will eventually drive gaming costs down. When in reality, it's probably not going to. It's probably going to stay the same.
No, because the disc is probably the cheapest thing on the whole production.
Yeah.
It's this 4 years of development with for most AAA titles, teams of at least 100 people spending 4 years working on a game.
Yeah.
And that's not including voice actors and directors and stuff like that, where they cost a lot of money to bring in. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense then.
So what were you guys expecting? What did you guys want from it?
More.
Yeah, more.
Yeah.
I wanted more. I wanted.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I wanted. I mean, the Scorpio is they kind of. So in 2013, when the systems came out, I would say that it was very much a Microsoft-dominated marketplace with the recent generation of the Xbox 360. And they kind of, I don't know, it's like that third console curse, where they kind of messed up and they kind of threw the ball back to Sony, and Sony took it and they ran with it. And for the past 3 years, it's been heavily Sony dominated. They've sold more PS4s than anyone I think imagined that they would.
Oh yeah.
And now it almost seems like they kind of had a little bit of a misstep, because with the mixed marketing with the system, it's going to be a divided marketplace regardless, because you have two different systems with two different SKUs. So you're going to have a more powerful system, you're going to have a less powerful system. Obviously, one's going to be more expensive, one's going to be less expensive. And that's not necessarily the huge deal, but the problem is when you don't message it right, you can see how this is going to go wrong at E3, where it's like, okay, so is this game playing on the Neo or is this playing on the old system?
Mm-hmm.
Is this playing on this system or is it playing on that system?
I think from everything they've said, though, they're not pushing any actual development to be for a specific system, which is cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to run into the issues that kind of like the new Nintendo 3DS did, where there was, Xenoblade Chronicles was remastered, and they said this will only work on the new Nintendo 3DS XL, which it looks better on that than it did on the Wii, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's also games like Hyrule Warriors, the re-release they did for the 3DS XL as well. That runs perfectly on the new 3DS XL, and it doesn't say it's only for that, but it says best on. And I'm not sure if anybody's played that on one of the older ones, like a 2DS or a normal 3DS. It runs terribly.
Yeah.
It hardly runs at all.
Yeah.
So I don't think Sony would run into that issue in terms of making games specific for either or system. The only divide is going to be the question of whether or not is it playing on this system or that system. But with what they're saying, with what could be the improvements, double the processor, capabilities. That's going to be obvious.
Yeah, didn't it say it complements the?
Yeah, it does. It's supposed to complement.
That's a very open word, though.
Yeah,
like,
and
who knows what that means?
The thing is like Apple has kind of, I don't know, they've made it at least more popular that you kind of put your eggs in a few baskets. You don't really kind of like spread yourself out really far, and you focus on one thing, and you do that one thing very, very well. And with this, I think them maybe splitting it off, you could maybe have like some distraction, so that way your best foot forward isn't always going to be put on the best system, or maybe there's going to be like lackluster performance on the older system if you don't have everyone all hands on deck with developing for one system or the other. I mean, I get what people say where you can just be able to downscale it, but it never works like that.
I think the idea behind all this was that it was supposed to be for two separate markets, really, for with the PS4 Slim and the PS4 Pro. Because the Slim is supposed to be the more economical one for people who aren't super into the highest resolution and the best frame rates and all that stuff. And then you have the Pro for the big tech junkies who have the newest TV that has 4K and HDR10 and stuff like that. But even then, it's still like, okay, other than that and that little increase, because the games that they showed, I didn't like that. He said Watch Dogs 2, and those will speak for itself, and that looked like crap.
I think they showed Uncharted 4.
They showed Uncharted 4. Days Gone is the one that impressed me the most, with the lighting effects on.
I was gonna say
the fire.
Days Gone least was it looked buggy.
I mean, as far as the technical side,
the game itself did not look.
Them showing the HDR and the 4K, that's the one that's the best visual aspect.
I just don't get it. When I read about it, I'm like, okay. I literally was like,
it's a different market because Zac was just saying, it's more so for like a tech junkie in a sense, because like I don't own a 4K TV.
Exactly.
I don't know if any of us own a 4K TV.
Okay, all of us love video games. Do we have to own?
No.
Yeah,
we don't
have
to.
Because, if you play video games like we do, rule number fucking one is graphic schmaffics.
Yeah.
They don't matter. They don't make a game good. They don't make a game anything.
But you also do have like that aspect of people who are like all about it. Highest frame rate,
60 frames per second doesn't matter.
It's an afterthought for us. You get games coming out. Yeah, okay, sure. Final Fantasy 15, we are all gonna love that game, obviously, and it's going to look flawless. But then you have Undertale, which is an RPG that came out last year that's like, is it even 16-bit or is it 8-bit? And it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the best RPGs that's come out in a decade. The graphics don't matter, but there's people that are all about it, and it only makes sense to transcend to that market.